Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 12 of the Nord and Block Pod. It is Sunday, July 21st, 2024. We are in the dead middle of the off season. I am bored as hell. I'm Nordic. This is Block. Or I'm Nord. Sorry. This is Block. LeBlanc, are you as bored as I am at this point? No hockey. It's baseball. That's pretty much it. Like, there's the basketball Olympics. Like, I'm not watching that though.
We are bored, chat. Like, we are actually so bored. Like, I do enjoy some baseball, but it's not hockey.
Yeah, it's not hockey whatsoever. It's not our pride. So we are hella bored, which means it does not make for very exciting episodes. However, we do have a pretty decently exciting episode with you guys here today, as we do have some things we want to talk about. So we're going to start off with a post from Sportsnet that developed over the last couple of days, where they posted something where one defenseman has to go off the list of Jake Sanderson, Noah Dobson, Owen Power, and Moritz Seider. And I don't know about you guys, I think the answer is pretty obvious. Now, I made a TikTok, and LeBlanc did as well, on our respective TikTok ends. And the comment, I don't know about LeBlanc, because I didn't look at his TikTok. The comments that I got the most was Jake Sanderson. Like, you look at my comments, the majority of them are Sanderson. You got a few Mo Seiders in there, a couple Owen Powers, but most of them are Sanderson. Now, LeBlanc, do you agree with this, and who are you taking off that list?
I do not agree with it whatsoever. I think Jake Sanderson, and we'll get into the top later, I think Jake Sanderson is very underappreciated, undervalued by the average fan, just because I feel like he plays in a smaller market, a market which hasn't made the playoffs in over 7 years, but that's another discussion. I just feel like he's not played on national, says they haven't had any national games in the United States, I want to say in 5 years.
Been a while.
I just feel like Jake Sanderson had a very excellent season on a very not so great team. He was the bright spot in that season. We look at guys like Power, who had abysmal seasons. Look at Mo Seider, who had the season. I think he had a good season, but I think he could be better. And then Noah Dobson, I think he's the best player on that list. I don't really have an argument for Noah Dobson being off that list.
Yeah. I don't think that's close. I think Dobson is the best player on that list. There's no question. Sanderson's incredibly underrated and underappreciated for the reasons you said, but I also think, too, people look at Ottawa and they say, oh, they're a bad team, so everyone on the team is bad. But that doesn't mean it doesn't mean that. And Sanderson's been terrific. Yes, he hasn't really gotten to the level that, we expected him to be at this point in his career. Could he still get there? Yes. I'm not saying that isn't going to happen. But Owen Power is by far the one that has to go. Like, I don't see how you can put anyone else in that range. Power I think will have a great year next season, because this past year was not great, a sophomore slump. That never goes well for a player. But with Power, I think right now he has to go. And yes, this could change in a couple of seasons, and we could say Seider could go. We could say Dobson goes on this list. But as of right now, I think the obvious answer is Owen Power, and it's not even close. So that's where I stand on that. LeBlanc, any more thoughts on that?
Owen Power had a sophomore slump. I think you look at his contract, you look at the year he had. My assumption is he's going to bounce back. Like, there's no way I can't see him having another year like this. And if he does have another year like this, then that is very concerning, especially when he's going into his first year of his new contract. I just feel like, the media tries to, goat everyone into putting four players who, are either very similar or very not similar. Like, you look at Mo Seider and Sanderson, they play different styles of game. Mo Seider is big and physical. Yes. Jake Sanderson uses a stick and is a good skater and methodical with the puck. Then you have Dobson, who's, he's a tier. I think he's a tier above everybody else on that list. And then you have Owen Power, who clearly, in my opinion, is the one that should be cut from that list.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And do I think that could change? Again, it could. It very well could. The other thing that I did want to talk about, it involves a start bench cut. I think Sportsnet posted it too. It was of the 2020 draft class, Alexis Lafreniere, Quinton Byfield, and Tim Stützle. So, first off, I actually don't even think I told LeBlanc we're doing this. But LeBlanc, what would be your start bench cut for that?
See, so call me biased. Tim Souza is going to be my start. I think it's clear and obvious he has the most points from the draft class. He's gotten over a point per game in his career. He's coming off a bad, again, not so great year, but the year before prior, he had 90 points and almost 40 goals.
He still had a decent year this year.
Yeah, and well. He drives the play. Like when Stützle wasn't there, it was very noticeable how much they needed Stützle. So when he was gone, you could see the impact that he had. The start. This is where it gets tough because I am a really big fan of Quinton Byfield, and Laugh had a good playoff, but this is actually so tough. This is a curveball because I didn't know we were doing this.
Yeah, my apologies. It was something that I saw on Twitter, and I'm like, hey, why not?
Yeah, I saw that about a couple of days ago, but I'm gonna take it. It's like so close. I'm gonna bench Byfield. I'm gonna cut Lafreniere.
Yeah, I think I'm the same list. I think I start Stu, I bench Byfield, cut Laugh. I think that you got to look at it because Byfield, yes, he took longer than Lafreniere and Stu to get to the NHL, to be a consistent player in the NHL. But I think Byfield has more upside than Lafreniere ever will in the Rangers. Mm-hmm. And this is something that I've believed for a while. It kind of stinks that Lafreniere went to the Rangers and not another team in that lottery. Because had he gone to, let's say, the Red Wings.
Yeah.
Don't want to put that image in your head, LeBlanc. But let's say he went to the Red Wings. I think he would have had a way better upside than he does in the New York Rangers. Mm-hmm. Because the Red Wings at the time were a much worser team. And they were obviously last in the league that year. And the Rangers had a pretty good roster. Or it wasn't as good as it is now, but they still had a pretty solid roster heading into the 2021 season. So it gave Lafreniere a limited spot. And I don't think he will ever get to the potential he had when he was projected in his draft. And I think Byfield just signed an extension that is just absolutely terrific. And I think that it's a steal for both sides, and I think that will do great. Could it change? Again, it could. But right now, I got to stick with start Stu, bench Byfield, and cut Lafreniere, unfortunately. So that's where I stand on that.
It is
this other thing.
It is so it's so razor thin between Byfield and Lafreniere.
Yes, because, that's the other thing.
Like Byfield has the upside. I think Byfield might have more upside than Stu. Arguably, it's debatable. And he's on a good contract. I think Lafreniere's the RFA. No, he already signed.
He already signed, I believe.
Yeah. He's on it. I just think Byfield's contract's down the road's gonna be. It's good for the team. It's good value for the team. And then you look at Stu's contract, 8.3 for the next 7 years. I'm taking that all day. So I'm pretty sure is not.
He's locked up.
I'm pretty sure Lafreniere is not on a long-term deal.
I believe he is on a bridge contract of some sorts. Yeah, I think it's clearly you start Stützle, and this is turned into a Ottawa Senators podcast. I apologize for that. But anywho, I did see something today that's related to Montreal, so it's not all Ottawa today. So Open Ice Bleacher Report posted a tweet from William LeBlanc, if I can say words. He said, "I'll be honest. I think there's a maximum 10 players in the NHL I would trade for Demidov 1v1, and even then, this kid will be special." LeBlanc, do you agree with that?
No.
Instant thought.
No,
do you agree with that?
Absolutely not. Here's my argument. There's 4 players who went ahead of him in the draft.
Yeah.
That's not me being smart about it. That's me saying actual facts. If Demidov was going to be a top 10 NHL player, value wise for trade, he would have gone first overall or second. I don't think if I could name 10 players right now who I wouldn't trade, McDavid, Draisaitl, Matthews, McKinnon, Quinn Hughes, Kel McCarr. Matthew Tkachuk, David Pastrnak, Mikko Rantanen.
Yeah.
Even Tim. I'll put Tim Hughes in there. Come at me. I would not trade any of those 10. That's 10 players I just named for Demidov. At all.
I don't know how you can, and this is my Flyers fan coming out. I don't know how you can compare Demidov to Michkov
at all. Even players who are on a prospect level. You
I
can't.
wouldn't trade Bedard for Demidov.
No,
I wouldn't trade Mitch.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't trade Bedard or Mitchkov. I wouldn't.
I wouldn't even trade like Will Smith
Yeah, I wouldn't
or
trade
Cutter
Celebrini.
for Demidov. I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, I wouldn't trade
And
Celebrini.
this is coming from a Flyers hater. Like a Cutter Gauthier. I'm not a Flyers hater. A Cutter Gauthier hater.
Yeah.
I am not a fan of Cutter, as you would probably expect. Now, even though I'm a hater, I'm not going to say that I wouldn't trade Demidov for freaking Gauthier. I wouldn't do that. Gauthier has more upside. Now, I'm not doubting the kid. I'm not saying Demidov can be better than Michkov, can be better than these other guys. But I feel like Habs fans are just starting to overrate the hell out of this kid. And I think, and he dropped in the draft for a reason. He was predicted to go second at one point. And, I mean, it was probably because of his size. I think that was the biggest thing that was talked about, was his size. But there were other things, too. Like, you can't say, and this is kind of me contradicting myself, you can't say that a player is automatically better than another, literally right at, like, it's I don't understand it. The number one way to cope about not getting a player in Matvei Michkov is saying that another one's better in Demidov, and that's where I stand on that. But again, going back to what I was saying, I know I kind of went off course there because Demidov has kind of annoyed me the last couple of weeks. There are more than 10 players that I would not trade for Demidov.
More than 25.
Like I don't understand how. What?
There's more than 25. Like there's.
Yeah, honestly, like I don't see how you can value a player this much. It's absolutely insane. So yeah, that was something that I figured we needed to talk about.
I do want to say this happens every year. The Habs pick a player, that player, and I think it's just like, I don't want to pick on Habs fans, but like we all overrate our prospects, sure, but I think Montreal takes it to the next level. I remember the Gouli hype. I remember the Reinbacker. Reinbacker was a little different because that pick was genuinely not liked by the fan base.
People hated that.
But Cole we still seen the Cole Caulfield hype.
Yeah, I still see that a lot.
They take it to a new level, and then they'll look at Kotkaniemi. They'll overrate the hell out of them, and then once they get traded and once they leave, they're nothing.
Exactly.
They're not a talking point anymore. So,
and I'll say this: the Habs are the only fans that do that.
No, they're not. And I'm not. Like I said, I don't mean to pick on the fan base, but I've seen. Not to the level, but you look at Leaf fans with. Remember the Nick Robertson hype?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Now he wants out. Now he wants to get out of there.
Yeah.
So that.
Like Rangers fans with Gabe Perreault. Honestly, go to any of the big market NHL teams. They usually overhype their guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, I agree with you. I'm with you there. Moving into news. There's nothing. Crickets. Absolutely nothing. There is a few things that we can talk about. Daniel Sprong signed a 1-year, $975K deal with the Vancouver Canucks. I love this deal. Sprong had a great year with Detroit that a lot of people didn't talk about. He got paid, what? He got paid, I think, the same amount, maybe a little bit less.
He got paid less.
Paid now. Yeah, he got paid less than he is now, and he put up, like 45 points, 50 points?
I think he had 45.
He had a great freaking year. So, good to get Sprong. He's a great bottom six guy for Vancouver. And I think that puts the team in a better spot since I argued they got worse.
Sprong's one flaw is that his defensive game is not great.
Yeah, he doesn't have a great defensive game, which is expected.
It's funny because I saw in the comments, like, I was a Red Wings fan, Sprong signed for this much, we couldn't bring him back, and then someone said he doesn't play defense, and the comment was, neither does our defense, so why not bring him back?
That's very true. Here, I'll throw this question at you, because I made a TikTok on it today. Do you believe in the Yzer plan still?
I see the vision.
We're in year 6
I see the vision of the Yzer plan. I do want to say that I think fans, I think after this long, you should expect results. And they had a really good year. I think Detroit still has some very good prospects coming up. So I still believe in the Yzer plan, but I'm not blindly putting my faith into the Yzer plan. I see the vision.
I see the flaws.
Yeah, I see the flaws and I see the good. I'm down the middle. I'm split.
Yeah. Speaking of Yzer plan, it looks like Joe Veleno will be a part of the Yzer plan. He signed a 2-year, $2.275 million extension. It's been reported a little bit that he might take a bigger role with the team in the coming seasons. I think it's a decent contract. We'll see how Veleno does with Detroit next year.
Mhm.
Again, they're expected to at least come as close as they did, if not make the playoffs again. I think Hockey Town wants playoffs badly. They haven't made it since 2016. It's been almost 10 years. And for a city that's as long as their history's been, they definitely need one. Mikko Rantanen is projected to sign a contract soon, a long-term one for the next 7 to 8 years. He has 104 points in 80 games played this past year. He is entering the final year of his deal. He expires in July of 2025. ESPN published their ranking of the top 100 professional athletes of the 21st century, voted by the ESPN experts. I put that in quotations. 3 hockey players, 3, made it into the top 100. Sidney Crosby being 22nd, Ovechkin being 54th, and Connor McDavid being 98th. ESPN also ranked Chris Paul ahead of McDavid.
Who let
the guy that cut the lead to 43? That's Chris. So yeah, LeBlanc. I don't think I ever asked you this. What are your thoughts on this?
who let ESPN cook? They need to get out the kitchen, get out the house, get some fresh air. Because here's the thing, that list, it said who were the best athletes. It didn't say who were the most influential. It didn't say who were the most popular. It was who were the best athletes. And I'm sorry to say, there's no athlete in the world right now that's better at his own craft than McDavid is at hockey. Right now.
I think they put Angel Reese ahead of McDavid.
Yeah,
let me go
it also goes to show you how long hockey still has to go to be on that national level. When you have, and it shows you that hockey's not taken seriously in the U.S. market.
Yeah, so number 1's Michael Phelps. I mean, Phelps is a great swimmer.
Phelps, that's fine. Phelps is a decorated Olympian. He has multiple gold medals. He's retired now, so that's why you say he's the best at his craft. I think he changed swimming forever.
I think he should be number 1, even if he's doing a sport that isn't as big as football or anything. Number 2 is Serena Williams. Number 3 is Lionel Messi. Number 4 is LeBron James, and number 5 is Tom Brady. Simone Biles at 7. Tiger Woods at 8. I thought he'd be a little bit higher. Same with Usain Bolt at 9. Again, the first player is Crosby at 22. That feels weird to me. Listen, I'm not saying Crosby should be number 1 or number top 5, but I feel like outside of the top 20 is kind of wild to me. And I understand you're looking at a lot of athletes, but it just seems kind of crazy to me, to be honest. And McDavid 98th is literally ridiculous.
That's just disrespectful.
It's almost like ESPN was making this list and they're like, oh no, we forgot McDavid, and then they just put him at 98th at the end. That feels like what it was, and I've done that before. I know from experience. I don't see how you can put him at 98. It makes zero sense to me. That's all I got for news, unless you want to talk about some other stuff that you saw in the media recently. Evgeny Kuznetsov is in the KHL now. He is leaving the NHL. That makes me feel old, because I remember when Kuznetsov was on the Capitals and doing so well, and now he's gone. So, goodbye, Kuznetsov. I'll miss you. That's all I got for news, LeBlanc. So, you got anything else? That's
not really. We're in the middle of the offseason. I got really no news.
Yeah, apart from guys signing entry-level contracts and RFAs that are still yet to be signed, there's really nothing to talk about. Next up, we're going to talk about teams that improved and regressed in this year's offseason. So we're going to go through all 32 teams, briefly talk about whether we think they improved or disimproved, regressed in this offseason, and it should be pretty entertaining. Starting off with the Anaheim Ducks.
They didn't really do anything. That's not me knocking them. They literally you know what? I'm head out.
Well, they drafted Beckett Seneca.
Yeah, well, Seneca's not going to play for the team this upcoming
No, he's not. They signed probably a couple depth pieces, but nothing that is too out of the ordinary. I think they just stay the same.
Yeah, I'd say about the same.
Well, unless if they lost people, who did they lose?
I don't know. I can't think of anyone who they lost. Like it was significant enough for me to say that they got worse.
Yeah, they didn't. Yeah, they didn't lose anyone of note, in my opinion. Again, I'm looking at their list of guys they signed here. Nothing here too interesting. I see Beckett Seneca. That's about it. Jansen Harkins, like that.
Yeah,
That's their best guy they signed. Urho Vakahan. Yeah, I don't know. Boston.
I think Boston got better.
I think Boston got better. People say that the contracts they signed weren't great. Like I think, like they say, the Lindholm deal was an overpay. They see the Zadorov deal was an overpay. I think they still got better.
Like long term, those contracts are bad, but like right now, Boston definitely got better. Upgraded at center, upgraded on the back end. Both positions of need that they really need to address, and they did it. So I think Boston got better. Even in bringing Corpusal, I still think they got better.
That's right. I forgot about that. I think that Corpusalo could fit under Buffalo or Boston.
Yeah, I feel like
Boston
here.
System. Yeah, Buffalo.
I think Buffalo got worse.
I don't know. Who did they lose necessarily? They did trade away Savoy and what was
Gergenson's left. They brought in Zucker.
They got Abe Kubel. They got James Reimer in net. They brought Felix Sandstrom, Henry Yokiharu. They re-signed. They did draft Constant Hellenius, who was a guy that I wanted in the draft, but I still think
I don't see. I think Zucker's an upgrade over Gergensen, sure, but other than that, I don't really see where Buffalo had all this money too. They could have went out and did something.
I don't think they addressed their needs.
They didn't, and like last offseason, they didn't address their needs correctly again. And that's on Kevin Adams. That's not on the team. That's on Kevin Adams.
Yeah, they're still in a really weird spot. Could Ryan McLeod help out with the depth? Yes.
I mean, sure, but I think Savoy's going to be... Savoy's ceiling is higher than McLeod's.
Yes, absolutely. Calgary. I think Calgary got worse. No matter who they brought in, they got worse.
I want to say Calgary got worse, but that's what they're trying to do.
Yes, and that's the thing. They re-signed Sharon Govich. They drafted Zane Perrick. They traded away Mangiapane. They flipped Markstrom. I would say long-term, they got better, but right now they're bad. They got worse.
The draft, though. I think Calgary had the best draft of any team. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, honestly, they really did. They hit on their picks.
Yeah, they brought in Anthony Mantha, who they're going to flip at the deadline this upcoming year.
Yep.
So I feel like Calgary did what needed to be done as a rebuilding team to start out. You know, but yes. I really do think Calgary got worse. I think Calgary will have a top 4 or 5 pick this next upcoming draft.
Which is exactly what they need. They have a lot of really highly touted prospects, and I think a top 5 pick will even help that out even more. Carolina.
You can't look me in the face without smiling and tell me, look at me, and tell me Carolina got better.
Yeah, I gotta be honest. I think that long term they might be in a better spot, but they did get worse. They have to keep Natchez.
No, they have.
They gotta keep.
They
don't have a choice. And they still gotta sign Jarvis. They still gotta sign Natchez, unless if they flip Natchez for Ehlers or McGroarty.
Even then, I would rather keep Natchez.
Yeah, I'd rather keep Natchez as well, to be honest. They brought in Walker, Gostisbehere, William Carrier. I think they're really relying... Or they brought in Roslovic, too. I think they're really relying on Bradley Nadeau to come into the lineup this year.
I think they're having Scott Morrow as well on the back end.
They're
Alexander Nikishin's coming over as well. They're having a bit of a youth movement.
I think they're hoping that a lot of their young guys will fix their issues, which I don't know if that'll really be the case.
It's either two results. Either that works out beautifully, or that crashes and burns.
Yes, exactly. Chicago.
They got better. They got...
I think, I'm going to be honest with you, no matter what they did, I think they would have gotten better anyways. This team was not in a great spot. They brought in some good depth pieces. They brought in Pat Maroon. They signed Teravainen, and they brought in Bertuzzi on a 4-year deal. They brought T.J. Brody over, Craig Smith, Alec Martinez. Honestly, I think that this team, they're still going to be bad. They're not going to be good. But they brought in some guys to really mentor Bedard and make this team a lot better. So could they be like better? Yes,
They'll
it
definitely
won't be
be
like
better. I want to say last season was just like Bedard and the fellas. And I say the fellas because like I could not name you a winger on Chicago, other than maybe like.
I remember like the start of the season. Yeah, Kurashev. I remember like the start of the season. There were all these posts where like they need to make an app to see when Bedard's on the ice to watch, and then when he gets off the ice, everyone just tunes out. Like that's honestly how you looked at Chicago. Colorado. I
don't know. That's one where I'm like, they
didn't bring in anyone that screamed.
They lost Walker, but I don't really see. Oh, they brought in Brandstrom. They brought in Parker Kelly.
Kiviranta. Oh, they re-signed Kiviranta.
Yeah. Sorry. So I think they went after depth pieces, or.
Yeah, we'll see how those guys pan out.
Like I think it's about the same.
They're about the same. They'll still be a really good team.
They're just still better. No doubt in my mind.
Columbus Blue Jackets.
Slightly better. Like,
yeah, they brought in Monahan, which I think helps out their depth.
They brought in Monahan for Gaudreau. That's the reason he's there.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, that's about it. Because I think Gaudreau had such a bad year, they bring in his teammate to try and.
They're really good buddies. So.
Yeah, Dallas.
Dallas got worse.
Yeah, I think here's the thing. Dallas like addressed their needs. They bought out Ryan Sutter. They made some other solid moves too, and you think, oh, this is gonna be great. Then they bring in Matt Dumba. They re-signed Nils Lindquist. They brought in Ilya Labushkin. They did re-sign Matt Duchene to basically the same contract, which I thought was good. But I think defensively they still didn't really solve their issues.
I'll be honest. I'd rather Ryan Suter over Matthew Dumba.
Yeah, I would rather Ryan Suter over Dumba and Labushkin.
Yeah,
to be honest. So I think that kind of makes their blue line a little bit worse. They lost Wedgwood. They did bring in Casey Smith, who was a good backup this year.
That's a good pickup right there.
But apart from that, yeah, they really didn't get that much better. Detroit, we already brought him up. I think they probably did get a little worse.
They got worse. Trading away Wallman.
I don't know what they're doing goalie-wise. What the hell are they doing? They bring in Talbot and Campbell? Like, what?
Goalie because Husso, and I know Wings fans are very touchy on Husso. Like, pause. If Husso was good the first year of a contract, last year he only played 15 games and was not good in the net. Bringing in 37, turning 38-year-old Cam Talbot didn't seem like a smart move. Campbell's only there for AHL depth. Their defense got worse. Bringing in Eric Gustafson doesn't really move the needle. They lost offensive depth. They bring in Tarasenko, who will be good for their top six. But I'm looking at the depth now, and especially on the back end is where I'm mostly concerned.
It's still just so weird, like how many goalies they have in the system. It's insane. And I know you're going back to defense, but like they have Jack Campbell, they have Ville Husso, Cam Talbot, Alex Lyon, Trey Augustine, Sebastian Cossa, probably a couple other guys that we're not even naming. It's just so weird how many goalies this team has.
Trade. Like there's going to be a trade or
yeah. I think we'll see it closer to training camp. All GMs are on vacation right now. They don't care. I do like the Tyler Mott pickup. I like the Tarasenko pickup. I think their offense gets better. I think offensively they look good enough, I guess, if the team can play. Defensively, again, that's where their issues lie. Like Gustafson had a good year with the Rangers. He's a third pairing guy at best. Ole Mata. We'll see how it does. But how the hell is Jeff Petrie and Ben Sherratt? Like, they had Sherratt, like, first pairing on the projected lineup. And how did Justin Holl not crack the lineup, getting paid, what, $3 million?
Yeah. Like Sherratt had, like, I know he had a decent year last year, though. Like.
True. But he's not a first pairing defenseman. He
shouldn't be a first pairing defenseman. Yeah, you're absolutely right on that. But, like, I don't see, like, the trading away Wallman for what? Like, cap space? I didn't see
that was kind of weird.
That was weird. And Like you
They still got to sign Sider
I
and
know. I was gonna
Raymond.
say they
That's
still,
one thing.
still have to sign. There are two big RFAs.
Yeah. So we'll see what those contracts look like. I guess that's why they moved Wallman, but it's still like I felt like you could have made another move, like trading Justin Hall instead of Wallman. But I digress. Edmonton.
They got better.
I think they got better.
They got
Jeff Jackson is like the best non-GM ever. Like he doesn't want to be the general manager, yet he's making so many like great moves. Like the Savoy trade, terrific. Jeff Skinner could be a great signing. Arvidsson, great deal. Janmark, great deal. Connor Brown, great deal. Brought back Corey Perry, brought back Henrique. I don't understand why you brought in Josh Brown, but hey, I'm not gonna.
Josh Brown's like probably like 70. If he's playing in the lineup regularly, I want to have a moment of silence for my Edmonton fans.
Guess you. I guess you know that. I know that too from experience. I guess that they want to put him in the AHL, but I think Edmonton got better. There's no question.
Edmonton definitely got better. Their depth, they shored up their depth for sure.
Do you think Savoy fits in right away?
I think Savoy has a chance to crack the lineup.
He does, honestly. I don't know if he gets a lot of time, but he could.
He would probably be playing fourth line, and I think if you're... I think Savoy didn't want to play in Buffalo, but that's another conversation, because he's from Edmonton. Or he wanted to go home.
That's nuts.
Or he wanted to go on the West Coast, yeah.
Florida Panthers.
The Stanley Cup champions...
They got
slightly worse.
Yes, but it's not to say they are bad. They did re-sign Kulikov. I like that signing. They brought in Nate Schmidt, which is a little bit of a weird one.
I mean, he played with Maurice in Winnipeg.
That's true. Anton Lindell, they signed to a 6-year deal worth $5 million. I thought that was interesting.
That's a steal. I like that deal.
Yeah, I think it's a good contract. I think they made some. I think they got worse, but I don't think they made any bad moves. If that makes sense.
No, I don't think they made any bad moves either.
Los Angeles Kings.
Ugh. This is...
I feel like they're about to...
Depends
they
on
moved
who you
Dubois, and then they made all these bad moves after, so I feel like they got the same.
Like, Joel Edmondson?
Yeah, I don't know what they're thinking there. 4 years at 3.8.
That might be the worst contract of free agency this year.
The Fogle deal's all right, but I feel like they overpaid for him a little bit.
Other than I would say they're about the same.
Yeah, I feel like they moved Dubois, which was great, and then they made all these bad moves afterwards that kind of canceled that out. So yeah, I'd say they're the same. But I do think that they got better in net. I think Kemper's an upgrade over Talbot. I think Kemper can still be solid.
Kemper's familiar with the Kings. He played for them before.
Yes, Minnesota. They didn't. I'm looking at their signings.
Jakob Trenin. I can't name any other move they made.
Yeah, no, they signed a lot of depth guys. Travis Boyd, Troy Grosnick, Jake Middleton, Devin Shore. I think that they made some... I think the Trenin deal's a little weird. Overpay a little bit. I think apart from that, you just have to look at their draft. Like, their draft was good.
Yeah.
But besides that, I think they're pretty much...
Though. I don't like the contract, but I'm a big fan of his game. But... I'll say it's slightly improved. Like, they slightly improved.
A little bit better, I guess. Montreal, I think they're about the same.
Yeah, about the same. They really just...
Unless you're looking long term. They're about the same.
Just AHL depth, really. I can't...
They signed 2 contracts, and one of them was the Slavkovsky deal.
Yeah, I think they're about the same.
Nashville.
Better
for sure. Again, those contracts in the long term might not look great, but they're still really good right now. Saros was a steal of a deal, under $8 million too, by the way. That's great. Stamkos, Marchessault, Wedgwood, Shea. They could be a pretty good team in the next couple of years. New Jersey.
Better. A lot better.
Better for sure. Pesci, Markstrom. Islanders.
Duclair's all right. Really.
That's about it, though. I think they got better a little bit, but not a lot. Yzerman still is not going to come over just yet. Yeah. Rangers. They brought in Riley Smith.
About the same. I don't see. They lost Gustafsson. They lost Roslovic.
They couldn't trade Truba. You could argue that's worse. Braden Schneider, they re-signed. They brought in Ruedel. Ottawa.
Better.
I think the team's better. I think that bringing in Perron, they re-signed Pinto, who could have a huge year ahead of him. Amadio is a good fourth line guy. They signed some good depth players too.
Bring in Jensen. I do want to say Ottawa really they brought in 3 former Stanley Cup champions.
Trying to rebuild something they've never done.
I think from a Sens fan, the room needed guidance, needed veteran presence, and that we didn't have enough of that. And those are 3 veterans who've been on teams that have accomplished the ultimate goal: win the Stanley Cup.
Yes,
those young guys will need that guidance. The depth, the bottom 6 depth is basically fixed. Well, not fixed, but it's gotten a lot better. Defensively, you get Nick Jensen, who is a right shot. We have not had a right shot defenseman. I had a second pairing who's decent. No offense to Travis Hamonic, because I don't think that's a different conversation. But Chikrin didn't fit the system. He didn't fit the team. I think Ottawa got better, especially they got better in net.
Oh, absolutely. With the Ullmark thing, it makes them a lot better. 100%. Philadelphia. I'll let you go first.
Not really sure what Philadelphia did. I'm being dead serious. I didn't really see any. Oh, they got who went to Philly? The goalie. I'm blanking right now.
Goalie went to Philly. What are you talking about?
Didn't you?
No.
Oh, I thought you did.
The only guy we brought in that isn't new is Anthony Richard. The rest are just re-signs, and I guess Mitchkov, if you want to count that. I think the team's the same. Mitchkov makes them better, but I think the team's about the same besides Mitchkov. They re-signed all the free agents, which is another conversation. Pittsburgh. They did a lot of minor moves, which we're looking at. They got Bavillier, they got Blake Lizotte, Matt Grzelcyk. They traded away Riley Smith.
I'm not going to lie. Pittsburgh got worse.
They're a little worse, I would say. I think that, yeah. San Jose.
Better.
I think they got better. Bringing in Goudreau, bringing in Toffoli. I think the team got better. I think the team absolutely got better.
Yeah.
Seattle.
Oh, Seattle? I think Seattle definitely got better. Yeah, call the contracts of Montour and Stevenson trash, but right now, they're a better team.
Yes, absolutely. And I think they needed that top-end defensive guy, which is why they signed Montour, a big name. That's about all they did, though, those 2 contracts. Yeah. They did draft Berkeley Catton, which I guess you can add in there. St. Louis. They didn't do a lot. I'm just telling you that right now.
About the same, I guess.
They brought in Matthew Joseph. They brought in Ryan Suter.
And P.O. Joseph.
Yeah, so they have the Joseph brothers. I don't know if that makes them better. I think they're about the same, to be honest. Tampa Bay.
Worse.
Yeah, I think they got worse. You can't deny that Stamkos leaving makes them worse. Do I think that the ad of Gensel helps? Yes. But I still think they got worse. They signed Victor Hedman. Apart from Gensel, they didn't do a lot. They brought in Cam Atkinson, which could be a good contract, but apart from that,
Ferguson.
Yeah, they moved away Sergachev. It's just salary cap. You win 2 cups. Guys want to get paid.
Cup tax.
Toronto.
Ooh. See, I have
Toronto. No. I think Toronto got better. I think defensively they got better. They brought in Stolars. I like that.
I will say defensively they got better. Offensively they got worse.
Yes. Bertuzzi leaving, that makes it worse. I'm still scratching my head why they didn't trade someone from the top 4 just yet. I don't think it's going to happen, but that's another discussion. Utah. Utah did a lot.
They got a lot better.
They got better. Their whole defense got revamped, bringing in Kanaan. Welcome back, Kevin. I didn't even realize you came back. Ian Cole, Sergachev they brought in. Yeah, they got better. There's no doubt. Yeah.
Vancouver got slightly worse. Losing Lindholm and Zadorov hurts, but
they were deadline guys though, weren't they?
They're both deadline guys. But Jake DeBrusk isn't He's a good pickup.
Yeah. Danson Heinen too, or they re-signed him. Daniel Sprong, who we talked about earlier, was a good
Yep.
pickup. Vegas got worse.
Yeah, Vegas definitely got worse.
Vegas did get guys though that I think could blossom. Like they got Holtz, which could be a good
That could be
deal.
a very good
They
deal.
got Olafson, which was a guy that needed to change the scenery. I think they made some solid moves, but they still got
I
worse.
totally forgot about Olafson. I totally forgot about him.
Yeah, Olafson's there, and Akira Schmid, and Ilya Samsonov.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. Good luck. Washington.
Better, but
I think they got better.
but I'm
Absolutely.
cautious about it. Like I'm very,
I love what Washington did. If you followed my videos, I love what the Caps did. I love bringing in Chekron. I love bringing in Mangiapane. Dubois is a little bit of a risk. I love the Matt Waugh deal. I think this team got better. And last but not least, the Jets. Winnipeg. Not the New York Jets. Winnipeg. I think they're about the same. Maybe a little bit worse because they lost some defense.
about the same.
The Rutger McGroarty
Oh.
is still out there. I think they're keeping Ehlers, to be honest.
Yeah,
I think Ehlers.
Ehlers will either he'll change his mind and like resign or he'll walk.
Yeah, to be honest. I think that's where I'm at there. And that's it. Who would you say is the most improved?
Washington probably.
Probably Washington. I would say Nashville
Nashville's
for
up
sure.
there, yeah.
Who would you say regressed the most?
I hate.
It's really thinking for you guys.
I gotta think about this now. Probably Tampa.
Yeah, I would say Tampa. I think Vegas is on that
Vegas,
list too.
yeah, Vegas. I would put Detroit arguably in there too, but
They weren't the least.
they weren't the
improved,
least,
though.
but they're C tier.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right, final thing we can talk about here. I have a few other things that we can do if you want, but final thing we can talk about here is 3 overrated, 3 underrated players. LeBlanc got this idea. I'll let you share your list first, LeBlanc, because
So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go back and forth. I'm gonna say one. You're gonna say one.
okay,
So, and these are I haven't like ranked these. Are just like players who came to my mind, and I see them as overrated, either slightly or majorly. This one I think is a bit high. Overrated. Cole Caulfield.
that's exactly who I have first on my list too, Cole Caulfield. I think that honestly, I haven't heard a lot of it recently with Cole Caulfield because Demidov's been in the
Yeah.
spotlight. But regardless, I do think that on a level, Caulfield's still a little bit overrated. He's unproven. It's the biggest thing with him.
He had a good
he's
year,
still-
65 points, but I'll say as Cole Caulfield's the best 40 goal scorer and never score 40 goals.
Exactly, he is 100%. He is. Yeah. Next up,
My overrated.
Correct.
We'll go back for underrated. Robert Thomas from the St. Louis Blues.
yeah, Robert Thomas, I would put on my list for sure. I'm gonna go with a little bit of a bold one here, Jake Sanderson.
He's
I
second
think-
on my list. Yeah.
Oh, great. Yeah, I think Sanderson's very underrated.
Mhm.
I think that people, again, like what we talked about earlier, people overlook him as a guy that isn't that great. Overrated, Tom Wilson. Tom Wilson is one of my guys.
That's good.
He's not as overrated as a lot of the other guys, but like people view him as such a great player and that he's getting paid so well in his prime and he's awesome. No, he's not. He's not.
Yeah, that's one that I didn't write it down, but that's a good one that I should have thought of.
Yes.
Overrated, Tage Thompson.
That's who's third on my list. Yeah, Tage Thompson. Listen, Thompson had a great year in 22-23. This past year was a huge step back. Like the team did too. But people view him as like a top 10 center, such a great player. No, he's not. Well, he is a great player. I'm not saying that he isn't a great player, but he's not a top 10 center at this rate. He's not as great of a center as people view him to be. I think maybe even that the 22-23 might have been just a standout year. He might not be like that for the rest of his career, though.
Underrated, since you said Jake Sanderson, I'm going to go with my last one. Trevor Moore.
Ooh, I like that. I got another guy here from the Kings. Adrian Kempe was
Yeah.
on my list. I think that Kempe, he's one of my favorites. I think both of them are underrated, to be honest. They put up great years in LA. Kempe, an underrated 40-goal scorer. Trevor Moore, I think, had like 35 goals this past year?
Yeah.
He was like, what, like a fourth liner in Toronto?
Yeah. They
He was...
For sure trading for Jack Campbell.
Jake Muzzin,
Yeah, Muzzin
as well.
Yep.
That's another guy you forget about. Yeah, I think both of them are very underrated. Are we overrated now?
Yeah, so my last overrated... I debated this last one between two guys, and I put one because I know one I'll get flamed for. This one I will get flamed for, but I can take it. Jack Eichel.
Yeah. I don't disagree with you there. I think that Eichel honestly had, like, he had some really good years in Buffalo, but in Vegas he kind of just died down. Like, I think like he's like a consistent 70-point scorer now, but he's not what he was in Buffalo.
Yeah, but I see when you go to a better team, you don't have to pull your weight as much.
That is very true.
Still, when you're on that caliber, you should be expected to be still playing at that caliber. Another guy for overrated I put up for you guys there. Like, I could argue Mark Stone's overrated.
Yeah, Mark Stone was one of the guys I thought of.
Mm-hmm.
I also had Jack Hughes a little bit.
Yeah, that was the one I was gonna say that I would get flamed. I think he's slightly. I think he's a top 10 center in the league, but he's not. He's in no shape and form a top 12 player in the league.
He's not one I put on my list. He's not one of the guys that I put on my list. That I think is overrated. There's a few other guys. A lot of them are on Toronto that I think are overrated. The other guy that was on my list was Morgan Riley.
Yeah,
I think Morgan Riley.
100% agree with you there. Yeah,
I think he's a little bit overrated by Leaf fans.
Yeah, Ridley's son.
All right, you want to get into that You want to start that? Remember back when we were making episodes, that was.
And then one more underrated. I put Anton Lundell.
Yeah, Lundell's underrated. We talked about him earlier on in this pod. I think he's a great forward who doesn't get the recognition he deserves for sure. That's all I got. To be honest. Unless if I can think of anything else to talk about here. Really, again, nothing's happening. The offseason is in the worst part of it here. And yeah, I'm just bored as hell.
I got a rapid fire real quick for you.
Oh, here we go.
Name me from each conference one team that made the playoffs that is going to miss, and one team that missed the playoffs that is going to make it next year.
From one conference?
From each conference, the West and the East. A team that missed the playoffs that's going to make it, and a team that made the playoffs that's going to miss.
Can I get yours first? The East is so hard for me. What would you do for the East?
So the East,
the team that would fall out.
East falling out. I have the standings right here on my board. I'm gonna say the Islanders fall out.
That's who I was thinking, but I'm balancing between the Islanders and the Capitals.
Yeah, no, the Capitals. I'm the Capitals. I gotta say, I'm very cautious around the Capitals. Like,
yeah, they're one of the teams that I'm like a little bit staying back on. A team that was out that would make it. Now, if we did this at the end of the season, I would have said Detroit, but I'm not really on that area anymore. I think Ottawa will be in the conversation. The Devils. What the hell am I doing? The Devils.
Yeah, I was going to say the Devils.
What the hell am I thinking? I think Ottawa will be in the conversation. I think Buffalo will be there behind Detroit and Ottawa. I think the Islanders will be right there. Philly is next up probably then. Pittsburgh, I guess. I don't really see Pittsburgh as hyped up as they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
The West? Or who would be the team that... Yeah, probably the Devils for you. The team that would drop out in the West? I don't know. I guess the Kings?
Say the Kings. I'm going to say Vegas.
Vegas, maybe?
I'm going to say Vegas.
Yeah. I don't know. A team that was out that could slip in?
I just want to make it very clear. There are a lot more bad teams in the West than there are in the East.
Exactly. The East is really difficult. That's why I wanted to hear LeBlanc first.
I'm going to say Minnesota.
Yeah, Minnesota I could see as one. I could, if Utah takes a huge step, I could see Utah.
I could see Seattle, too.
St. Louis as well. St. Louis didn't do a lot. Again, St. Louis didn't do a ton this offseason to really put them into the...
St. Louis, I would say Seattle's probably like the new coach.
Yeah. Female as well on the South, too. I think that makes it interesting.
But yeah, we're still so far out from the training camp. We're still like a month away from training camp.
Yeah, how the hell are we gonna make episodes, LeBlanc? You gotta come up with some stuff here. Prospects? Let's rank prospects next episode, huh?
Yeah, we just gotta put out our rankings. That's what I've been doing. Just like
Let's rank mascots. Like, I have no idea what to do. We did top 10 players from each position. At this point, I'm just like, I gotta start thinking like,
we gotta do like mascot tier lists.
yeah, we're in the off season when, and yeah. So, anyways, that's all I have here. If you got anything else,
that's all I got for today.
All right, that'll do it for episode number 12 of the Northern Block Pod. Thank you all for watching or listening. If you're watching, be sure to like, subscribe down below. I really appreciate it. If you're listening, give us a good review. Tell your friends. If you want to follow the Nord Block Instagram, follow at Nord Block Pod. I think that's the only social media we got.
Yeah.
We got to make a TikTok and a Twitter.
No, the TikTok got deleted.
Sorry, X. Yes. That, I don't know why the hell that happened. I posted a TikTok to it and I got banned. I'm like, what the hell? Average day on TikTok. But yeah, if you want to follow either of us, I'm Nork97_IG on Instagram. LeBlock's at LeBlockJames. The same thing is for our TikToks too. Yeah, follow us, tune into our stuff. Thank you all for watching or listening, and we'll see you guys in the next episode. Adios.